My name's Robert Loomes. I run a small firm of watchmakers in Stamford in Lincolnshire, and it was a family business I grew up in, predominantly involved in the restoration and repair of antique and vintage clocks and watches. I'd been working particularly on clocks when I was a teenager. My father said there is no money in watches, and steered me away from them. And it was only when I got into my 30s that we started spending more and more time working on quality timepieces and enjoying it, occasionally getting frustrated by it, and then one day waking up and thinking, it's not that difficult, we could do it if we wanted to. And so for the last 4 or 5 years now, I think, we've been making small batches, 100 at a time, of mechanical watches. Made some automatics, made some chronographs. All very good fun. Customers kept nudging me though, asking, could you make an entirely English-made watch? And so the last couple of years we've devoted to doing just that, and we managed to get hold of a decent batch of Smith's 1215 mechanisms made in the 1950s, where every single part of the watch mechanism was made in England. Smiths were paranoid about supply chain after the Second World War and the fact that Britain had been blockaded. And so Smiths set up all the tiny little industries required to make watch manufacturing possible in the UK. Having bought those movements, it was then fairly straightforward from an engineering point of view to make all the other bits that you need, making our own hands, making our own dials, making our own cases, cutting and polishing sapphires. One of the joys of the sapphire polishing was we spoke to a lot of companies who either didn't want to do it, would only do it for large sums of money, or said they couldn't do it. And I was complaining about it in the pub in Stamford in Lincolnshire with a friend of my wife's, and she said, well, my brother runs an optics company, why don't you talk to him? They make specialist camera lenses. So I went to see this guy, went down to his factory, walked in, and at the back of the room in the factory there are all these machines from the 1940s that were watch glass polishing machines now being used for specialist camera lenses. And so I just thought, well, this is absolutely meant to be. And in fact, yes, using that ancient 1940s machinery, we could cut and polish sapphires to an extraordinarily high standard for a reasonable amount of money. So, all good fun. The end result is an entirely English-made watch. A lot of people keep saying to us, we'd love to buy one of your watches, haven't got time to come to Stamford, and so the opportunity to come to London is a chance for those people to come and see us without making too much of a trek, see what we do and make their minds up about it. As importantly for us, I think it's an opportunity to show the rest of the world English watchmaking, or British watchmaking, is entirely possible. People think only the Swiss can do this. Not so. We know companies who make jewels, we know companies who make hairsprings. Everything can be manufactured in the UK. And anybody who thinks otherwise has just not looked hard enough. So it's nice to come to QP and say this, and say, you don't have to go to X to buy your hands. You can make them yourself.